So Zelda's killing it. People love Zelda. Nintendo Switch has been getting hardware reviews, and they haven't been great.
No.
And that's kind of stupid. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so in total interest of honesty, IGN does hardware reviews, and I agree with that sentiment. I think it's something we should do. I think it's great reader service to provide people sort of a snapshot of what a console could look like on the first day of buying it. That being said, the review embargo for the hardware lifted the other day, and this is actually, I would say, Nintendo's at fault on this one for allowing reviews to go up this early, but not having all of the sort of systems in play yet. Keep in mind that Nintendo Switch is going to get a pretty significant day one patch. It's going to add stuff like the eShop. It's going to add stuff like online functionality.
It's adding stuff like memory card support, isn't it?
Apparently, yeah, memory card support.
If you want to use like an SD, XC, or the whatever format.
Apparently that glitch of the Joy-Con, the left Joy-Con fritzing out, which I experienced for the first time the other day, is being patched and being fixed.
Good. I mean,
so it seems odd to me that reviewers, including IGN, are putting numerical scores on something that is not exactly. It's a snapshot of something that I don't think consumers will actually get to see yet.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think there is some truth in all of this. This is a system that will grow over time, and it does feel sort of half-baked. You know, so let's get into it.
Yeah, so CNET, who are known for their hardware reviews, said a solid piece of hardware that delivers an impressive gameplay experience in a small chassis, but a shallow roster of launch games beyond Zelda and a dearth of other features leaves the Switch feeling more like a blank slate of unfulfilled potential on day one.
Yeah.
But also, like, when people review phones, they don't review the phone before going online with it, you know?
Yeah.
It's a device that's meant to do certain things, and it's like, I don't know. Anyway, we had a review too up. This was Vincent Genito. He said, it's nicely built and cleverly designed to be used in a variety of ways, but the bottom line is that the Switch doesn't do any one of the many things it can do without some sort of significant compromise.
Yeah, Jack of all trades, master of none was sort of the theme of our review, and you know, it's going to remain to be seen how much that really plays out when we're all playing it. Something I've noticed as an early adopter of all consoles, even going back to, like, say, something like the Xbox 360, right? Which is one of the first consoles that got updates and changed. You look at the UI on that system from when it launched to when it ended. Remember the blades?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the Xbox One is consistently getting overhauled. The PS3 to the PS4 and the Vita, the UI changes significantly.
Dude, the PS4 since launch, the whole interface has not changed a lot, but it's been like tons and tons of little tiny tweaks to make it a better experience.
The Wii U at launch was pretty barren, and they added something that most consoles haven't even been able to get right since, which was that sort of like quick load thing, where you could just hit the touchscreen or hit the home button and immediately launch into a game. It took a significant amount of time, but from what I've read about the Switch, and you and I were geeking out about this, it's like 6 seconds from hitting the power button to playing Zelda again.
Yeah.
So
I mean, one of the most charming things about the Switch, and you guys will get a chance to see this once it's out in the wild, plugging it in and taking it out.
Yeah.
Just having it do that thing where it goes from your TV to its handheld. It's one of those, like, I mean, that's its gimmick. It is the Switch. Anyway, GameSpot said the Nintendo Switch feels like culmination of years of hardware growing pains from both Nintendo and Nvidia. I can definitely see myself bringing the Switch to social gatherings to play something like 1-2-Switch as much as I can see myself playing Zelda sitting alone in front of my TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We keep comparing this thing to PS4 and Xbox One, and that's a natural thing to do.
Don't do it.
The NPD will do it. You know, when the sales charts come in, that'll all happen. And that, depending on that support, we'll see how many games it gets.
I think the best thing we can compare this to is the PlayStation Vita and the Wii, because it is kind of a combination of the two. The Vita is not good for AAA games. It's good for weird little indie handheld things. The Wii wasn't great for big AAA things. It was good for like weird, fun party games and like stuff that didn't really make sense on another platform. If this is the go-to for, like, I don't know, portable indie games and party games and, you know, stuff Nintendo games, like just getting a bunch of, if this is the place we go for that, and then for all like the big, you know, gutsy 4K open world, like massive sprawling stuff we go on other consoles, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I want to exist in a world where I can play Horizon in 4K and then a few days later play Zelda in 720p on a handheld. Like, that's a good place to live.
Anyway, Engadget said, my big takeaway from the Switch, Nintendo has figured out how to innovate once again, but the system's battery life, outdoor screen performance, and unknown networking capabilities have me worried. Yeah, that's a weird thing to have in a review, you know, like unknown networking capabilities on a device that can go online in 2017.
Yep.
Wired says it seems like it's 1,000 times better than Wii U's slow, clunky interface. You just can't do anything with it yet because besides start and stop a game of Zelda. I mean, that's a pretty good, like, you know, concession or whatever to be like, oh yeah, you can only play Zelda, a massive new Zelda that is getting 10s across the board.
Yeah.
I just walked by somebody who was holding a Wii U in the office a second ago, and I did this weird double take where I was like, is that the Switch? That's not the Switch at all. And it was like, that's the Wii U gamepad. When you remember, the Wii U gamepad is about the size of the Switch, well, maybe 2 Switches stacked on top of each other. And then there's a box that goes with it, and then a power brick that goes with that.
Yep.
And then the fact that the Switch is basically just that.
It's just that.
That's a huge leap forward.
It's thinner and lighter than the Wii U gamepad as well.
Yeah.
And it delivers on the promise that the Wii U gamepad couldn't even deliver in my own home, which was you'll be able to go from room to room and play video games.
Yeah.
And I literally couldn't go down the hall from my TV without it cutting out the signal. And I was like, this already defeats the whole purpose of this thing.
I want to solve that water temple in my own water temple, aka my bathroom.
Yeah, toilet talk.
Yeah, Octorocks, dunking out. Anyway, the Guardian said the Nintendo Switch is a brave and fascinating prospect. The Switch is playing in a very different space, a space of its own, and we now need to see it if the rest of the industry and a large enough audience of casual gamers will join it. I was saying this a second ago.
Right?
I think that the fact that it is clearly a new thing. I mean, you look at it, when the Game Boy came out, there was nothing else in existence like that.
No.
When the Wii came out, there was nothing else in existence like that. When the DS came out, that was kind of an interesting spot. I think it was, people knew, like, a handheld Nintendo device. They're like, is that a Game Boy? But you know, the PSP came out at the same time, and it was considerably more like of a wow factor. But the fact that this has a color scheme that is new. It's a new color scheme. It doesn't look like, oh, it's the familiar old kind of gray. I mean, you know, there is a gray one, but if you get somebody on an airplane and they're sitting there and they're playing Zelda and they're holding these weird little, like, candy bar things in their hands, you look over and you go, hey man, what is that? What are you playing on that?
There we are.
We're on that.
All right.
Unfortunately, there's no video streaming capabilities on there yet. Just
There's no web browser yet. One day you'll be able to watch this show on there.
Yeah, but I like the idea of it, like,
This is great.
It's a kind of thing you have to see it in person. You've got to see it up close and just really kind of, you know, get your hands on it. Like, there's a certain level of like the HD Rumble stuff. That is one of those things in the same vein as like VR. It doesn't work unless you do it yourself. Same thing with Wii.
So the three major tenets here of a successful Nintendo console or a successful video game console, I think, is that one, the hardcore Nintendo fans who bought Pokemon on 3DS, who bought every Zelda game, they need to come over, right? Now, Pokemon last year it was the biggest launch of any Nintendo game ever. So there is still a fan base there. So all those handheld fans who love 3DS, here's your new toy, you come over. Number two, hardcore gamers who play PS4 and Xbox One but want something on the go, some of them need to come over too. And number three, grandma, auntie, casual gamers, your mom, they need to come over and they need to find something here.
So 1-2 Switch is a dumb as hell game. It should totally have been a pack-in terms of like just what it is. It's basically a tech demo. That said, it is incredibly fun. I had a big party last weekend, had people over to play it, and everyone had just a huge blast. And what's really interesting about it is it's not really a video game. Everything in there is basically live action or very simplified graphics. It feels more like a high-tech board game, which I think is really smart because that will lure in people like, you know, like Grandma, who are scared of the concept of a video game. If you're like, hey, we're playing Milk the Cows, Grandma, let's do this together. That's weird, but it's still like, look each other in the eye. It's encouraging humans to interact, whereas I know that, you know, moms everywhere are like, I don't want you playing on that damn thing, go outside. You know, and that's also the thing the Switch tells you to. Take a break, come on.
It's true. The Switch is the most polished, sturdy, and grown-up hardware Nintendo has ever produced. That doesn't mean this new hardware is technically superior to other game systems. So yeah, same thing. I think in a year or two, when PS4 Pro and Xbox Scorpio are just like swinging for the fences with some of the best-looking games of all time, Nintendo's gonna be like, you can play Mario on the toilet, and if that can still work, this thing will be successful. So that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's stuff like, oh, you can play Super Meat Boy 2 on there, and you can play it in the park with your friend at the same time using little, you know, controllers. Like, if they manage to basically make a portable NES that plays modern, weird indie games or classic Nintendo games, they've got something really cool in their hands. So, like, I don't really care that it can't run 4K. It's not trying to.
No,
it's not the point.
To.
So, yeah, and they'll patch it hopefully to do stuff. Maybe.
I hope they
Who
get
knows?
a virtual console very soon. That'd be nice.